the ugly, the bad, the good, becoming a stronger me, where I'm transparent about my story, my struggles, and my healing journey. Hi, everyone, and thank you for returning to my brand new podcast for my journey and my personal blog, unlockedpain.com. So, since this is a brand new podcast, I know some of you probably don't know who I am, my mission, and why I decided to create a podcast. So, you're probably wondering, what is the ugly, the bad, the good becoming stronger? Well, normally you hear the good, the bad, the ugly. I feel like my life started ugly. The incidents that happened to me were ugly. That it should never have happened, and they changed me, and I was looked at as a bad person growing up when I was probably in my teen years, or at least I had the perception of people looking at me as a bad person. So I played this hard personality to fit that mold. But now I'm taking control of my life and I am living a good life by putting the work in to help myself heal from some of the trauma. And I'm becoming stronger through this journey of mine. I am a survivor. I experienced something no child or person should ever experience. I was sexually molested and raped, physical abuse from my biological mother and her boyfriends. You know, what I went through was devastating. It was at one point shameful, and I constantly blamed myself. I tried to find reasons why it happened. That's just the reality of trauma, unfortunately. And I have grown a lot. And it's still work, but I am in a better place where I can speak about it. This, I hope, will help anyone out there who feels alone. I did feel alone for many years. It was not a subject that I could just bring up just in a normal conversation, not even to friends. It just wasn't easy. There's no real reason except the shame that I felt, and I didn't want to look weak. It's not easy to talk about, but I know that it's part of my healing, and I want to use my voice to help others. I want to help fill in the gaps where I can and to do my part in speaking not only about the trauma but my healing journey. So I decided I was tired of burying the feelings inside, and I felt like I wasn't living my full potential. I'll be damned if I allow this ugly experience that was not my fault to define who I am as a strong survivor. So I chose to fight for my life. And that is where I started to really take a in-depth look at the route that I wanted to go, because I was not going to allow this ugliness to be my story. I am going to take control, talk about it, but then also make changes in my life to be healthier mentally, physically, emotionally, because I know that I matter and they will not win. So, as I'm sitting here recording this, I'm trying to kind of grasp where I want to go with my podcast. I could sit here and talk about the sexual molestation that happened, the rape, but I don't want this podcast to be anything for anyone to feel bad about. I don't want any negative energy. I'm all about living life with purpose in a positive direction. And I feel if I put that positive energy out there, that's exactly what I will attract. And I want anyone who's listening to feel empowered through anything that I put out there. Of course, I will talk about, some of the incidents that happened. Most of the stuff that did happen, I did already talk about, where I blogged about it in my blog. But of course, there will be some times where I do talk about specific incidents. But for the majority of my podcast, I want to help give some kind of just guidance through my own journey, what I did to get myself where I'm at and where I'm headed in my journey, because I still have growth in me. Everybody does, but I still have growing to do and more work to do, and I want to share that and hopefully just inspire someone else who's feeling lonely, in the dark, depressed, to come out of that by just doing what you can and continue to take those steps. And I know that as you continue to learn and start that healing journey, you will see a difference. My podcast is brand new. This is only my second podcast, and I have worries of, what am I going to talk about? Am I going to talk about too much detail? Am I going to trigger someone? Those are, you know, worries that I have, but worries just stops you in your tracks. And I know that despite worries and fears, I have to keep pushing forward. I am not going to please everybody in the world, and everyone is going to have an opinion, and it's just the world that we live in. But I know that I will not stop my mission and me just being genuine and transparent, Because if I start to get in my head and worry about all this, which I did for so many years, then I will never be able to use my voice in what I believe is my mission. So I leave you with this. Today's a new day, and I can't imagine giving up a power that belongs to me, and that is my voice. Thank you so much for being here and listening. Until next time, sending you nothing but positive vibes.